8 days after the attack on the U.S. consulate in Libya that killed 4 Americans, White House Press Secretary Jay Carney finally agreeing that the assault was, quote, a terrorist attack. But despite his admission, the president himself still blaming the violence on the YouTube video at the Univision conference yesterday. With his reaction to the back and forth, let's just talk about the back and forth in the White House and the seemingly disconnect with Texas Congressman Louie Gohmert. He serves as the vice chair of the subcommittee on crime, terrorism, and homeland security. Congressman, it seems like we're on 2 different paths. The State Department just picking out a panel. Meanwhile, other entities like CBS and Fox News are moving right ahead with this investigation that shows one of the guys that led the attack was at Gitmo in 2007. Why the disconnect?
Well, they don't watch enough Fox News, obviously. But the whole world knew this was a terrorist attack. They knew it was not about the video. Everybody but this administration. The whole world knows that these folks have been demanding the release of their worst murderers. And we have seen previously, like when I was in Afghanistan a couple of times this year, you know, they were talking about that a guy that Obama released from Gitmo is now, for humanitarian purposes, now back in Afghanistan, leading the Taliban, leading the killing of Americans. So this is pretty normal. This kind of thing is going on. These people have a terrible disconnect.
Well, John McCain said the same thing a couple of days. John McCain's just playing politics. And Ambassador, when he said Ambassador Rice, well, she's either not telling the truth or abysmally ignorant. So I'm just wondering, if we didn't have an election in November, would the administration be more on board with this in your mind?
Well, they're just doing damage control. It's all it is, Brian. And we had a briefing yesterday. I didn't go. I've gone to too many of them, and the only time they do that is when they're trying to tamp down complaints from Congress about their ineptitude. Everybody knows what went wrong there. They didn't have proper protection. Then they lied about it. Oh, it's all about a video. Look, they've been trying to push. Well, I'll tell you what, Brian, when they allowed the member of the known terrorist organization first time in the White House back in July, what they wanted was the release of their murdering thugs. And the White House let them in. So this shouldn't have come as any shock.
Well,
this is what they want.
You're talking about the president of Egypt now. You're talking about
well,
Morsi.
no, I'm talking... Yeah, oh, yes.
Yeah, talking about the releasing the 78-year-old Blind Sheik who's got a life sentence in North Carolina. Among the people who think a deal is in the works is Congressman Peter King and Andrew McCarthy, who was a district attorney who helped put him behind bars. Do you believe there's a deal in the works? That has been what the demand. Morsi, when he ran for president, said, I'm going to pursue and get the release of the Blind Sheik. That's what they've been asking for. That's what they've been pushing for. This administration knows that. And I'll tell you something else that shows the complete disconnect of this administration. They've talked about how great Occupy Wall Street was. Brian, if you look at the video in front of the wall of our embassy in Cairo, you see ACAB, all cops are fatherless children, or whatever you want to call it. But you see the same thing. That's been one of the slogans of the Occupy movement. This administration embraces Occupy. They embrace the terrorists like nobody before. They're a disconnect that we are getting people killed because of it. And not only that, you can look at Afghanistan. 70% of the people killed there have been killed under President Obama and not Bush. Well,
this guy does not know what's going on.
I know you're fired up. I got to pick up on that synergy you think that exists between the embassies and the Occupy movement at some other time. But thanks so much for joining us on this Friday.
Thanks so much.
All right, coming up straight ahead.